Xbox Game Pass in August is already looking pretty strong here from the games that we know will be dropping into the service. The PlayStation job posting has fans outraged on the PlayStation side. It looks like more games could be dropping as well, multi-platform from Xbox, which we know that's part of their strategy, but some more have entered the rumors, which is interesting after everything that happened over the weekend. Ghost Recon news, Battlefield 6 news, as well as Nintendo Direct could be happening soon with a massive game where the release sounds pretty imminent. So we will get into all of this, but before we do, if you do enjoy daily gaming news and content, hit the subscribe, share, like, all that stuff. Really helps the channel out. But for now, let's get into it. So Game Pass so far in 2025 has been phenomenal. The first half of the year has been great, and it looks like the second half of the year is just going as strong, with July being very good, August as well, with just a few games that we know have been announced for Game Pass, looking like it is going to be a good month. And of course, there's games that we don't know are coming, as well as there's games that could randomly just shadow drop into the service. But let's take a look at the games that are coming out for August. There's one in there which I am very excited about, as I will play this game again for like the billionth time, but I'm more excited about the multiplayer on this front, just simply because I think it will be pretty big, and the community for this game is going to be bigger here. And that is Gears of War Reloaded. So here are the games coming for August that we know about. August 1st, Farming Simulator 25. August 11th, this is a huge drop for a lot of people out there, because Madden is always one of the biggest games that does release every single year. But Madden NFL 26 is dropping into Game Pass with the free 10-hour trial. Now, you don't get the full game right away, but you will get this game fully into Game Pass once it does hit EA Play, which is generally around 6 months after the release of the game itself. All of these sports games do drop in eventually, but I'm looking forward to see if they improve it, and especially the franchise mode. Every year they promise that they are working on the franchise mode and making it better. They've already kind of shown a bit off for the franchise mode, and it does look there are some improvements. That's generally what I play when I play Madden, so I will end up checking that one out. Then you have Senua Sega Hellblade 2, the enhanced edition. So the 60 frames per second is coming into Game Pass for everybody who's already owns the game. You get it as well on Xbox. If you're on PlayStation, you have to go ahead and pay for the game itself at the full price. So I'm excited to see this one in 60 FPS, see the differences between 30 FPS on the Xbox Series X and 60 FPS, because one of my things with this game itself is that I was completely okay with the 30 FPS that they did put into it, simply because this is a very cinematic experience and you want the best fidelity for Hellblade 2. So I wonder if the 60 FPS, just because of the power of the consoles and everything, will dumb down a little bit the experience cinematically, or will it look great? We'll see Ninja Theory's work here, how they work their magic to get this game running at 60 FPS on the Xbox Series X. And then Gears of War Reloaded to end the month here, August 26. I'm very excited about this. I wasn't initially excited about it, but then we hear about the multiplayer and how that's going to have some updates, and just overall, I think jumping into that, it's going to bring me back nostalgically to Gears of War, which was a game in multiplayer that I played just a ton of when that first came out, every day after school coming back, and it's what I spent my nights doing. And now the community will be bigger. It is on the PS5, so you're going to have PlayStation gamers in there, so it'll be interesting to see if people who've never played Gears of War, if they can stack up online, how good they are, if they enjoy it, and just how big of a seller this is on PlayStation. I believe when they first announced it for PS5, it was a top pre-ordered game. So there will be a lot of videos, people talking about this one. So I am excited to see the updates here for Gears of War Reloaded. I really hope at some point they come back and do the same thing that they're doing with the first Gears of War, and do it to Gears 2 and 3. Give us a collection that we've heard in the rumors for a while now, like the Marcus Phoenix collection. I think would be just absolutely super cool. So August looks good already, and there will be more games coming over to the service. Friday was a crazy day in gaming, in the console wars, in the fanboy circles, simply because PlayStation looks like they are hiring here to bring more games to Xbox. You don't really see anybody even caring that they're bringing more games to Nintendo, or maybe that's just my algorithm, but it's bringing more games to Xbox, which has pissed off a lot of PlayStation fanboys, specifically because they thought this was never going to happen. But if you are following the gaming industry, you're seeing the rise in development costs. The writing was on the wall that PlayStation needed to expand their player base, and whether that is selling 1 million more copies or 10 million more copies, bringing in more revenue is what they need. There's a couple of things that I think have contributed to this. The development costs rising, like I already mentioned, but you have things like the games as a service games that they've canceled that have failed, games like Concord, where they just blew hundreds of millions of dollars. And this kind of, I think, has forced them faster into making this pivot. If those games came out and they were successful, maybe they wouldn't have made this pivot as fast or been able to hold off for a couple of more years. But because of those things, I do see more PlayStation games dropping on Xbox, as this job posting does indicate, whether that is games as a service games or any more of the first party third person cinematic experiences that they do put out. I can see it happening. I don't see why you wouldn't want to sell another 1 million plus copies or so of a game like Spider-Man or even The Last of Us. It just easy revenue for PlayStation to help them support make games into the future. And we have this article here talking about how the multi-platform strategy and the multi-platform leak, I guess you could say, has angered PlayStation 5 players. And I don't fully understand this. This is the same thing that did happen with Xbox, but this came out, everyone was talking about it. You're seeing videos come out, people pissed off, people wanting to jump ship and everything, which I still think the PS5 and next generation PlayStation is going to sell very, very good, because we know what sells consoles, and it is not the exclusives. It is your digital catalog that you've already spent thousands of dollars on. It is the games that you play with your friends. It is the free to play games, the Call of Duties, all of that stuff sells consoles way more than the exclusives on PlayStation and on Xbox. But they say here, unexpected PlayStation multi-platform leak angers PS5 players. Unexpected leak suggests that Sony is expanding its current PlayStation multi-platform strategy. We've talked about this in 2 videos, so go check out my reaction and what I think about it fully in those videos with my thumbnails that I think I'll start using a little bit more of on certain videos, because the click-through rate actually was more successful. But you have this here on X, you have the Cartel Dell saying you still have time, to a tweet he did back in May, saying strongly recommend that streamers and content creators remove PlayStation or Xbox branding from their channels. Just be pro video games. The console war rooms grow cold. A new era beckons. And I can somewhat agree with that, but I also kind of disagree with people who are just fans of a brand but celebrate video games. Like, you can be a fan of Xbox, you can be a fan of PlayStation. There's nothing wrong with that. There's literally nothing wrong with that, to be a fan of those platforms and talk about how that's where you primarily play, but also just enjoying and checking out and wanting other people to experience those games. The issue is the craziness around people who only care about games because they are on that platform exclusively because other people can't play it. I think that's where a lot of things go a little off the rails, at least for me, because I'm a fan of Xbox, a fan of Nintendo, not as much of a fan of PlayStation, especially this generation, as they just haven't given me anything that I really care about very much. But I will absolutely recognize, as I have in plenty of my videos, when they do good things. Like, I think they've improved PlayStation Plus. I like a lot of their exclusive games that they do put out that you can now get on PC and stuff, so you don't even really need a PS5. And all of that stuff is fine, celebrating the games. And we'll see if, when this all just kind of really comes to fruition, the full multi-platform universe that we are in, will we see big changes in content creation and with streaming, and how many people will jump ship? We already saw Zubitech jump ship. To me, that's just grifting at the end of the day, when you're already jumping ship after you've grifted for a platform for so long, simply because they're putting games on to other platforms. But we'll see how many more people also make those types of moves. We have some more information here. Of course, as soon as PlayStation gets that job posting out, there's going to be articles popping up about Xbox putting more games onto PS5, which is cool. And we'll see how this does end up. But State of Decay 3 and Gears of War EDay apparently here are coming as well over to PlayStation 5. And this has been claimed that both State of Decay 3 and Gears of War EDay will launch on PlayStation 5 when they both surface. They say, while some might see this news as being fairly obvious, given Microsoft's stance of putting Xbox games on as many platforms as possible, we're yet to have any solid confirmation that either of these games would appear on PlayStation. One thing I will say is the Xbox strategy of releasing games on PS5 has been very successful, but they really don't have a set plan for every game. Like there are still games that are out there that haven't landed on PlayStation. Like South of Midnight still isn't on PlayStation. Grounded 2 has not been announced yet from PlayStation. I know that one's in the early access, as someone pointed out in one of my videos. Maybe that's the reason why. I'm sure that one will end up on PS5, but there isn't a set time frame. Like it's not always day one, and it's not always a few months. So we don't really know how they end up going about it. But we have a report here from MP First where they say resumes as the guiding light for the news that State of Decay 3 and Gears of War EDay will launch on PS5. In a recent write-up, the team revealed that they'd uncovered a resume for a game designer working on Gears EDay who writes that the game will launch on Xbox Series, PC, and PS5. Not surprising, we kind of already knew that. The question is this day one? Is this a few months after the release? And how long? Is it a year after? We don't know exactly what they end up deciding for each and every one of these games. But right now, just a rumor. I have a feeling Gears EDay may come out a bit later, not day one, but maybe State of Decay 3, as there's more multiplayer aspects to them, that would be a day one PS5 game. Either way, they will both end up on that console. And it's already starting with Gears Reloaded on August 26, which again will be fun to see just the community grow on that game. All right, let's talk a bit here. Ghost Recon, Battlefield 6, and then Nintendo, and then we'll end off through there. But Ghost Recon, they are making a new game. We've heard that it was potentially going to be here in first person. We now are hearing that they could be leaving behind the Anvil engine and going to Unreal for their next game. So a lot of people are moving over to Unreal, even with Halo and Halo Studios. They're moving over to Unreal Engine 5. They say in a recent reveal from our very own Tom Henderson, it was said that the next Ghost Recon game is being developed in Unreal Engine and not a proprietary Ubisoft engine. And this is the same Ghost Recon title that was recently revealed as being a return to the origins with a first-person perspective, dropping the third-person perspective we've known for the last few titles. And the last major Ghost Recon title was developed in Anvil Next 2.0. Which I'm not shocked here. Ghost Recon was a failure. If you can get a game that more developers know how to use and you can get very good results from it, I wouldn't be surprised if more studios who have these proprietary engines slowly start to kind of move over to using Unreal Engine 5. It will probably reduce the development costs, get people to be able to create these games faster, and then they can make more money in the end. The interesting thing more so for me here is dropping the third person perspective, because you could do both in Ghost Recon games in the past. So I feel like why drop that and not give the player choice to switch between third person or first person? They can absolutely do that. I think more people right now would prefer the third person for Ghost Recon. So this is a risky move for them, just keeping it fully first person when they already have some big first person games at Ubisoft like Rainbow Six and like Far Cry. I'm not a fan of this decision, but we'll see how it all ends up, because there still could be a third person mode in there when they do end up revealing the game. A first-person game that I'm very excited for, however, is Battlefield 6. I've talked about this a lot on my channel because I think the game looks very good, and I think it will be a big competition this year in the first-person shooter genre. And there will be a Battle Royale mode in Battlefield 6. This is some more information that has leaked out. The map itself has leaked out. And it says here, here's a recreation of the Battle Royale map in Battlefield 6. The location appears to be called Linden Beach. I've added a few points of interest for context. They are scattered hints of a Metroid system, and the mode is currently labeled Battlefield Royale in game. And you can see the map here. Battlefield Royale is a catchy name, and that's all we know from it. The other thing we do kind of know is that this one potentially is going to be releasing after the release of Battlefield 6. It's not going to be coming out day one, which I think is fine, because the main multiplayer, from everything we have seen about the main multiplayer with the destructions, there's been more leaks and stuff. It looks like it is going to be great. And they're different. Battlefield and Call of Duty are different in the style, the gameplay, and everything. But I wonder if you'll see people playing both, or if you'll see people from Call of Duty trying Battlefield 6 and liking that one more, and vice versa. And we'll just see this battle go on between the two first-person shooters, which back in the day, there was that. There was always people comparing the two games and deciding which one they wanted to spend more time in. And finally, It looks like a Nintendo Direct could be imminent with a announcement for a massive game that will be coming up for the Nintendo Switch 2 and the original Nintendo Switch. And that's Metroid Prime 4. This one has been a long time in the making. I love Metroid. I love Metroid Prime. I've been looking forward to this game for a while. I had almost given up hope that it was actually going to be coming because they kept having issues and studio switches and everything. But more info here on everything that is happening, Nintendo. And they say here, according to a listing published on Friday, the Switch title has been rated of ages 12 and up due to mild violence. So it's already been rated by South Korea, which generally means the game's on its way. It is closer than we do think. And they say Metroid Prime 4 is due to release sometime this year for the original Switch. And according to the company, with an enhanced Switch 2 edition also planned. And there's also reports here that Nintendo is planning to hold a Nintendo Direct stream imminently, which matches with what VGC has heard from sources, where it's likely to announce an official release date for Prime 4. So imminently sounds like this week. That's what that sounds like to me if it's coming very, very soon. I'm excited for this. I can't wait to see this game in action. And I have the Switch too, so I'll be playing it on that, but looking forward to this game for a long time. But I will end the video there, guys. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up. If you are new here, hit that subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.